What's up, guys? So I'm here to talk about the chances of getting a real life bite in protection, law enforcement, and the military, and how the training that is taught in the communities are able to be flawed the way that they are. So I'm going to let this play through so you can actually hear it from someone else besides me so it's more believable. And then I add my bit to it afterwards.
Or lower of your deployments are resulting in a physical apprehension.
Yeah, I think we did the math a couple weeks back. The chief was asking about it, and I think it was 2.7% or something like that of deployments to bites.
We wait until something sexy happens and like, hey, that really bad guy tried to get away and the dog caught him. But what about the other 98% of the time where the dog just came out? People said, hey, I don't want to mess with the dog. And I mean, you obviously don't have to go down that path because you're a big enough and busy city, but some of these agencies do, and they forget to tell the consumers
Right.
how well the dog does at other work that doesn't include biting people,
Yeah,
which
that
is
was-
most of the time, obviously.
Yeah, and the vast majority of the time, the dogs do not bite. They're just there. They're, like you said, a de-escalation tool.
So the dogs are the escalation to 98% of the time in law enforcement in big cities. So the smaller the city, the smaller the town, the smaller the community, the less likelihood of the dog actually getting a bite. Because this is Denver, Colorado, PD.
Percent or lower of your deployments are resulting in a physical apprehension.
Yeah, I think we did the
Yeah, Denver, Colorado. So one of the biggest cities in the nation. So if they only biting at 2.7, 2.5% of the time, what what makes it, what percentage does it have to be at where the training has to be better? Now if you look at the 2.7% number of dogs that actually engage and deploy, look at how many of those get killed because of the type of training that's in it. Now compare that to the military. I know military dogs, they get 10 bites per mission, and they do 3 missions to 4 missions, give or take, a day. And they run missions daily for 18 months. So do the numbers on that. And their dogs, these dogs in the military, are not killed on the level that the police canines are. Now, the 98% and the 2.7, 2.5% actually rolls over as well to the military because 98% of military dogs are nose dogs, which means they're there to sniff bombs. So less than 2%, or about 2% even, do actual bite work or actually engage, apprehend a subject. But out of that 2% that's left, less than 0.5 actually do it to a degree that is combat oriented, mission critical, which means they own a KC type unit. Now, think about the numbers once again as far as the casualty. More dogs are doing that hardcore work, or they're getting killed at a less rate than their law enforcement counterparts. It's because of the training. The training with law enforcement, they teach the dog just to bite. They condition the dog just to bite. They don't teach the dog to go at the specific areas, such as the strong arm close to the weapon. They teach the dog to go whatever because usually an officer would be there to back the dog up automatically. All the dogs in law enforcement that get killed because The officer was not there to back the dog up. It was the dog out forward and independent of the team that made the apprehension, and it made the apprehension wrong because it engaged the weak side, it engaged the leg, it didn't pull, it just bit, hung, and hanged, and got killed because of it. Now, when you think about that, and you think about your training, what are you really training for? Because the percentage of on the chances of you getting a live bite as a sports dog is 0. The chances of you getting a live bite as a protection dog is 0, because your dog is a deterrent. No one's going to break into your house, see a dog, whether they think it's trained or not, and decide to commit a crime. More so if it is a breed that is known to have protection training, or be automatically, naturally, somewhat protective of someone or a property. No one's gonna break in and deal with the consequences of that, because it is outweighed. The consequences are outweighed by the pros. They break in trying to get quick cash. They didn't break in to have to fight the dog and the handler when the dog makes noises to wake up the handler or whatever. Now let's look at law enforcement. You got law enforcement as far as corrections. The chances of a dog biting in corrections, a dog in corrections might get a bite maybe once a month if they are lucky in a high state or high populated prison jail facility. Say, for instance, like, San Quentin, California, something like that. But the dog, like he said, most of the time it is going to be a deterrent. The guy is going to see the dog and act right. So even with that, you might get one once a month. And law enforcement, as you see here, you might get the dog to bite maybe once, twice a month in law enforcement. No more law enforcement like you see this guy. In the military, outside of the nose working dogs, the bomb dogs, KC dogs, operating dogs, they're getting bites. They're getting a lot of bites. And they are effective because their numbers are lower than their law enforcement counterparts as far as casualty, because their training is more effective. So if you're training for bites, you're training for the wrong thing, because the chances of you getting a bite outside of the military, slim to none, even in the law enforcement. So do the training for what it's supposed to, for protection. And the fact that y'all training for the bite just goes to show that y'all clueless about what protection is and how to actually protect yourself and your family. Because the bite, as this guy said, as I said numerous times, should be the last resort. And in all honesty, a dog should be a deterrent. In fact, y'all even see that this dog's the number one reason for being owned by anybody who's thinking about protection is the dog being a deterrent. That's why y'all train the bullshit a lot. But when it all comes down to it, you train because you're thinking about the bite. And the bite's never going to come. So why not train for what the dog's actually there for? For protection, for safety, for security. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Drop them below. Until next time.